Coogan Cassius, IFL TV in association with Macklin's Jnr'S. We're at the press conference, which should have been Saunders and Eubank Jr., but we're in the same position as we have been several times. Steve, Mr. Eubank hasn't shown up.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know really what it is, Coog. It's not disappointing because I suppose we expected it, and we know it's unprofessional. But I think it might be something more than that. I think it's a liberty, if you want to know the honest truth. I think it's taking the mickey, really. I think it's a bit of an insult. Let's use stronger language. It is an insult. You know, he's got no reason that he can't show this rubbish about the £50,000 in escrow to guarantee that Billy Joe Saunders doesn't put his hands on Junior, as Chris Eubank Sr. calls him. I'm disappointed by it. You know, I'm a massive Chris Eubank Jr. fan, to be honest with you. I've been a fan since his days as an amateur, but I'm an even bigger senior fan, and anyone that goes and searches Steve Bunce and Chris Eubank Sr. online will see my reports going back to his first and second fights back in this country. I've backed him, I've written about him, I've been there in dark times for him, I've helped him out, I've taken calls in this last 15 years when no one's heard from him to talk about different ideas and different projects, and I just feel that he might be starting to eat in to that granite reputation, that granite legacy that he forged in some of the greatest fights of the 90s, which I still argue was our greatest ever decade in British boxing. This is not helping Eubank Sr. and it's certainly not helping Eubank Jr. and it's 100% not helping the promotion.
In the little build-up that we have had leading up to the 29th, we've heard more from Senior than we had with Junior. What is that doing for Chris Eubank Jr.?
Well, I've got no problem with the isolation, the splitting of the two fighters. I mean, I think Chris Eubank Sr. has done a great job during the Channel 5 years and also during the first few fights here on Box Nation. I mean, he's done a good job by taking the pressure off of Eubank Jr. and when you're interviewing him at ringside, he beckons you over to talk to him, and it allows Chris Eubank Jr. to stand there stoic like that. I've got no problem with that because that's part of the promotion. However, they both need to be here for the double act to work. I've got no problem with that. We know that Chris Eubank Jr. can't come here and stimulate and keep a press conference going. The only good thing about him being here is that he's, quote, here. You need Eubank Sr. to propel it. Let's not mince our words. You need Eubank Sr. to give it that extra oomph. But he's got to be here as well. For him to be here, I would have no problem tonight if Eubank Jr. comes here, doesn't say a word, Eubank Sr. does all the talking. That's no problem. I have no problem with that. But they've got to at least send somebody here. Simple as that.
Is it mind games, or is it a case of they just don't want to be in the same room as Saunders?
Well, they might think it's mind games. What it is, it's insulting and it's unprofessional. You know, there's certain people I don't want to be in the same room with. There's certain boxers that have hated each other. You just got to get on and do it. You know, we breed people at the moment, we breed fighters at the moment that live in some kind of fantasy world where they seem to do exactly what they please, and they don't seem to be fully aware of the commitments that they have to the promoters and to the fight in general. You know, and Frank was mentioned in the press conference there quite correctly, this wouldn't happen on pay-per-view on Sky. It's as simple as that. Every time they need Bellew on the phone, he's on the phone. Every time they need Cleverly on the phone, he's on the phone. On a sofa in a studio, on the sofa together, they're there. Bang, 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 bang. That's the way it should work, and that's the way this should work. Even if the man comes along and says nothing. For God's sake, Nathan Cleverly and Tony Bellew have been saying the same thing for 6 weeks, but they're there saying the same thing. Even if Chris Eubank and Chris Sr. came here and said the same thing today, it doesn't matter. They're here, and that's what you need. The press need it, you need it, the photographers need it, and the cameramen need it. You need to see the two guys together.
Fight week is around 3 weeks away before the start. Do you anticipate that we will see these two together before the weigh-in?
Yeah, they'll be together. Yeah, and whether I'm expecting a David Hay style invasion of Eastern European or South Coast heavies to surround Chris Eubank Jr. and they'll build a barrier. Fantastic, that'll look great. That's what I'm expecting. Perhaps they do feel that there is a real danger of being attacked. Perhaps they do feel that, and if that's the case, they can come along with all their security. They will be together. Will they shake hands? It's possible. Will they do a head-to-head after the weigh-in where their noses are nose-to-nose? No way. No way. That's not going to happen. It can't happen.
This fight has turned into being the icing on a very appealing cake on the 29th. Also, Chisora and Fury, the fight that... the rematch rather that hasn't happened yet but will happen on the 29th, and you were around Tyson the other day, Steve?
Yeah, Tyson's in great shape. I was with him a few days earlier at his Uncle Huey's funeral. That was very hard for him and the rest of his family, very close-knit family. But he was in good form last week when I went up to Bolton to see him, very focused. I mean, he knows what he's got to do, and Derek, who I was with the week before, he knows exactly what he's got to do. And I've got to tell you, Derek looked better, sounded better, and his head seemed to be in a better place than I've ever known Derek be, to be honest with you. So I think the first fight wasn't an aberration, because it was what it was and it took place. But I think we can forget that. I think it's like two guys going into the ring. I don't think anyone will take anything from the first fight that means anything in the second fight, other than the fact that on one of their records it says W, and one of their records it says L.
Monster month on Box Nation in November. Kovalev Hopkins this weekend.
Well, we started off with a Mad Bill last week from Chicago that had one of the oddest fights I've ever seen. And if you've not seen it, I tell you people to go and watch it. Fortuna against Cotto, Abner Cotto, who's Miguel Cotto's cousin. It's the most bizarre fight, crazy fight. A couple of knockdowns, the worst dive you've ever seen. People being hit on the back of the head. Oh, it was crazy. It was mad. Then we kick on this week with Hopkins. That's a terrific fight on every level. Then we're in Macau for Algieri against Pacquiao. Then we got this on the 29th. Then we got a great fight, one of my favourite fighters at the moment, Terence Crawford, going for a night. And I think there might be another one sprung on us in the middle of that. It's the best month we've had on Box Nation ever in a month, and I would therefore argue it's the best month's boxing ever on British television. If you throw in Tony Bellew against Cleverly, you've got, without doubt, the best month ever on British TV.
And if you chuck in Bunce's Boxing Hour and the Cassius and Helder show, what more do you want?
For that whole lot, you've got to pay 26 quid, 12 quid and 16 quid, or 28 quid. Honestly, in the 70s or 80s, if I'd have offered you that, you would have cut off your arm, you would have paid 50 quid then, which is equivalent of about £1,000 now. People forget that.
Absolutely.
We done?
We are done.
Top
Steve,
man.
Thanks for talking to IFL TV.
Okay.
And we'll catch up with you soon.
You will indeed, Bob.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers, Steve.